to cover the geography of Mesopotamia. We're going to cover why Mesopotamia is called Mesopotamia. We're going to talk about what countries it sits in today. We're going to talk about how farming and geography impacted each other. We're also going to talk about the problems that geography led to for the people of Mesopotamia. First off, let's do a little bit of introduction to geography of Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia is more of a region. It is not one central area. It is a large area, more of a region. It is nicknamed the Cradle of Civilization. The reason it is known as the Cradle of Civilization, the word cradle, simply put, means first. It is the first civilization or the birth of civilization. Mesopotamia means between the rivers. Now, between the rivers, it has to mean between two rivers. It's between the Tigris and the Euphrates River. It sits in modern day Iraq today. It also sits in part of Syria, Turkey, Lebanon, countries as well. So, where is the Mesopotamia region? So, you have the United States right here. You fly across the Atlantic Ocean, across the Mediterranean Sea. This is Iraq. Okay? This is Iraq. The Euphrates River is right here. The Tigris River is right here. Mesopotamia sat between the two rivers. You got Iraq right here. You got Syria. You got Turkey as well. So it really ran through multiple countries. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about or cover today is how farming impacted Mesopotamia and how geography impacted the farming. Mesopotamia was the first to practice irrigation around 5500 BC or BCE, before Christ or before Common Era. Two rivers, the Tigris and the Euphrates, flooded every spring. As a result, the floods led to very fertile mud and a rich soil. This became the best land for farming in Mesopotamia. Right where the banks of the floodlands were, that is where the groups planted their crops at. Now, how do you control the flooding if it comes when it's unexpected? The people of Mesopotamia began to build basins, canals, and levees to basically stop the flooding from ruining their crops completely. If it flooded unexpectedly, the basins, the canals, and the levees were basically protected. Now, the thing that we're going to wrap up Mesopotamia geography with is the problems that the geography of Mesopotamia had on the Mesopotamian people. There were often frequent floods from the Tigris and the Euphrates River that basically flooded the land and flooded people's homes. There was also the scorching heat. So you have floods back to back with the scorching heat. It's a born disaster. You also have winds. So winds, scorching heat, frequent floods. If you had a trifecta, it's a ruining disaster waiting to happen. Communication began to become difficult due to isolation. Remember, there is no 301, there is no 95, there is no microkilometer road. There is no way to get from point A to point B. There is no text messaging or Facebook or Twitter to get your message across from one town to another. Because of that, it took days, months, weeks at a time to get a message from one group to another group. Also, due to the basins and the canals and the levees, the Mesopotamian people hadn't learned how to control how much water they were getting in and pushing out. As a result, most of the rivers in the Mesopotamian River dried out and people began to lose their crops during this era as well. This began to bring people into Mesopotamia that were outsiders and invaders because they could see that the Mesopotamian region as a whole was beginning to suffer. Let's review before we wrap up. We talked about the Tigris and the Euphrates River. We talked about what modern day countries Mesopotamia region is in. We talked about how farming and geography impacted each other, and we talked about the problems that geography led to in Mesopotamia. This ends the Mesopotamia geography lesson for today.